Interesting. What a phenomenal couple of days at the Genesis at Torrey Pines. They had to fight through all the bad weather early on, and then the leaders faltered. What an unbelievable comeback by the young Swede, Victor Åberg. He roared from behind, and then he withstood the pressure on the final hole. He had an 18th hole birdie to win it. This is a young guy, I think, knocking at the door of being a star. He won a bunch of tournaments last year, then he had injury problems in the second half. He's come out of the gate a little bit slow this year, but he won at Torrey Pines, which is a tough course, and he won at Torrey Pines chasing down the guy that had led for a couple days in a row. I was just so impressed with what Åberg did. And here came Scotty Scheffler. Holy cow. He might have caught Åberg, except he ran out of holes right at the end. But Scheffler had a stretch. I think he had five birdies in about a 7 or 8 hole span, and he had injuries in the offseason. He looks like he's back. I wish I could say we knew what was going on with Xander Schauffele. He's not played. They said there was a physical ailment issue. I don't know whether it's COVID-related, whether it's a golf injury. Nobody's saying anything. His name has just virtually disappeared out of the conversation of anybody on the Pro Tour. So I hope he gets back. You're into golf? That was a hell of a tournament. Jump on board, fans forum. Looking for a few good old boys. Looking for a few rednecks. NASCAR. Holy cow. That telecast went on and on and on. They had so many rain delays. They had 3 rain delays in the first 20 laps. I was about ready to give up. And then finally, when the storms left Daytona and they went green flag, it was great. And then we had 3 wrecks in the final 9 laps of the race. Monstrous flip. Air got under a car, cartwheeled it down the track. Very scary. But the integrity of those cars protected the driver. And then we had the bumping and grinding. We had a 9-car crash. Then we had a 10-car crash. And then right at the end, the winner came from 9th place on the final lap when the first and second place team wiped themselves out on the back straightaway. And then it was another crash coming out of the 4th turn. And the winner goes from 9th place to 1st, just like that, to win. I don't know what NASCAR is going to do about the rough riding, because this banging and grinding at 180 miles an hour is really dangerous. But at the end of the race, they were running 3 abreast, 10 rows, 3 abreast in the final group of laps. And if somebody gets squirrely or sideways, you got a mega crash. And that happened twice right at the end. But what a way to start the season. What a freaking weekend. You got the NHL and what happened, USA versus Canada, the game and the fights, and you got all the wrecks at Daytona and just an unbelievable finish to the race. Man, if you're not a NASCAR fan, then you're not paying much attention, but it was what William Byron did to go from the middle of the field and all the traffic. He didn't even think he was going to get any points to win the doggone thing for the 2nd year in a row. And by the way, Jimmy Johnson, who's become the owner of the Legacy Motor Club, he's only a part-time driver. He started at the back of the pack. He started 40th, I think it was. He finished 3rd. He survived all the wrecks. He finished 3rd, which is huge for the Legacy Motor Club, because he had no success last year as a part-time driver, a part-time owner. Now he's the full-time owner, lead owner, and he got in a car and finished 3rd. So you're into NASCAR? Redneck line is open. Good old boys, feel free to join us. Last topic on the table, soccer. This is going to be fun. They're ready to open the season come Saturday. Our MLS expansion team, San Diego FC Football Club, they open against the LA Galaxy. Yeah, those dudes will be raising the MLS Cup on Saturday. This is what LA Galaxy won. I'd be fascinated to see what kind of team they've been able to put together under this new coaching staff. All honesty, I don't know if they have enough goal scoring around the great Mexican forward, Chucky Lozano. Do like their defense, led by the guy from Ireland, Paddy McNair. Do like their goaltending, led by CJ Dos Santos. The intangible is they built this thing after they signed Lozano early. They built this thing from the back end out. From Dos Santos, the goaltender, number of fullbacks with MLS experience, center backs to midfielders with MLS experience. I don't know if they get enough snipers. They're going to have to score some goals. We'll see. They lost 2 of the 3 exhibition games they played. I don't know what the quality of those other teams were. I do know this. it's going to be an enormous challenge for that coaching staff because they've got players from 14 different countries on this roster. They got MLS guys. They've got guys that have come out of the academies abroad that ownership has built. So it is going to be a collection of people with different personas from different styles of play that coach has to now put together. But they open with the LA Galaxy on the road Saturday. Home opener is not till March 1st here at Snapdragon Stadium, but launching something new is kind of cool. And we'll just see what kind of team they have that put together against the MLS Cup champion. What a way to open the season.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I mean, I think San Diego deserves an MLS team. It's a expansion franchise, so you can't expect they're going to win the cup. You know, it's going to be a difficult year for them, but I'm excited about it. Now, I know you can watch all the MLS games on Apple TV, but some of them are on like kind of regular cable channels.
I'm sure they will be. We'll have to search out and find out. You know, there's 550 channels on my cable, and 513 of them have crap programming, so I have to search.
Yeah, so we'll have to figure that one out. I want to talk about the Daytona 500 because I was really looking forward to that, and it was difficult to watch because of all the rain delays and everything else. But all the pomp and circumstance, like before they started, was pretty cool, you know. And they're doing feature stories on the different drivers, and they have the big introductions. They had Cedric the Entertainer there. And then, of course, Donald Trump was there. So it was a cool festivity. But then when they started going to these rainouts, I started flipping channels. And I was watching Utah State, New Mexico basketball. I was watching some of Torrey Pines. And you're never sure when the race was going to continue and get back going. But they didn't do the full race. I mean, they must have had to cut it short.
No, they ran the whole bloody thing.
What time did it finish at?
It was finished after 6 o'clock in my living room, which is after 9 o'clock in Daytona.
Interesting.
And it started at 11 a.m. was supposed to be the green flag, and it was delayed. And then then it showered. They had 3 rain delays in the first 20 laps. I thought, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But then the storms blew away, and they went green flag, and they went racing till we had all the red flags with the 3 crashes in the final 9 laps.
I missed all that.
Oh, John, how could you need to?
Well, because I didn't know when it was going to come back on. And by that time, I had drifted away to something else.
Do you have a black and white TV in this house?
I got to reach over and go click, click, click.
What, you put this? No, you put the split screen on, dude.
Yeah.
But I was crazy. I said, I don't want to listen to all these interviews they were interviewing every driver during all the rain delays. And I know they have to fill time, but I don't want to listen to this. I want to see the race. So I was going back and forth watching other things, but I had an eye. And then I said, oh, storms have cleared. Mike Joy, their lead announcer, is just a great guy. I've interviewed him a couple different times. He was funny. He said, this is staff meteorologist Mike Joy. Our radar shows, or Doppler radar shows, the storms have blown off to the east and are going out to sea. Get ready for green flag racing. I said, okay, TV stays right there. Don't touch the TV. We're going to watch it. Anyway, it was a great run at the end. By the time I got to the finish line at 9 o'clock last night, man, my head was falling off my shoulders. I'd watched so much TV.
Yeah. It's hard to watch it with all those delays, but I enjoyed the interviews of Kyle Larson. I think he's a pretty interesting guy. And what's I also find interesting is he's a very slightly built dude, you know, but I would imagine that's probably an advantage as an auto racer, kind of like horse jockeys.
Well, but the cars are all 3,600 pounds. The weight of the driver doesn't have very much to do with that equation, but he's slick. He's really good. But boy, at Daytona, doesn't matter who you are. You get caught up in the wreck, they're going to tow you to the pit garages with a wreck.
Yeah, the other interesting part of that is, did you see when Trump did the lap and with all of his motorcade? And they were saying that he was going like 65 miles an hour, but if he had gone on the embankment, they would have fallen down. They would have tumbled over because they weren't going fast enough. So he had to stay on the flat section at the bottom.
That's a 31-degree angle embankment up.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And yet you saw, like, when we're done with this, you get a cup of coffee and you just Google Daytona 500 crash. When you see what happened to Ryan Prost, he got airborne because a car got sideways. The wind got underneath the car, flipped it. He went down the straightaway. You see the force. That's 180 miles an hour when he got sideways, and he just got lifted. Despite all the aerodynamics, it's supposed to suck the car to the track, but also the integrity of the car. He didn't get hurt. Now it's a hell of a wild ride.
Well, then the weather, I'm sure, has something to do with it because it's windy out there.
Exactly. Oh, it was a great race. Hey, NASCAR fans, Daytona fans, we put all the topics on the table. Time for Fans Forum. This